The Silent Strategists. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the observation deck of her vessel, the UES Perseverance, gazing out at the massive galactic assembly station that hung against the backdrop of swirling nebula clouds. The station was a marvel of engineering, a 12-ringed structure spanning 20 kilometers across, housing representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations. Alina's ship, by comparison, seemed almost embarrassingly small. "Captain, we've received clearance to dock at Bay 87, Lieutenant Kai Zhang announced from behind her. Assembly Protocol Officer notes it's in the auxiliary diplomatic section. Alina nodded without turning. Bay 87, the section reserved for minor species and newly admitted members. After 15 years of humanity's membership in the Galactic Assembly, they were still relegated to the diplomatic equivalent of the children's table. Of course it is, she murmured. Inform them we're proceeding to dock. And Kai, make sure our systems are running on publicly disclosed specifications only. Already done, Captain. As far as their scanners can tell, we're just a moderately armed transport with obsolete shielding and propulsion systems. Alina finally turned, her dark eyes meeting Kai's. Perfect, just the way we want it. The Perseverance wasn't much to look at least not to alien eyes. Its hull was pitted with what appeared to be makeshift repairs. Its engine nacelles were mismatched, seemingly cobbled together from different technological eras. To the Assembly's advanced civilizations, it looked like the best effort of a young species still finding its footing among the stars. None of them could detect the quantum phase shield generators hidden within the ship's structure, or the dark matter propulsion system masked by conventional thrusters. None of them knew that the Perseverance could outrun or outfight almost anything in the Assembly's combined fleets. That was exactly how Earth wanted it. As they docked at Bay 87, Alina straightened her simple blue uniform. No ceremonial decorations, no badges of rank beyond a single silver pin identifying her as captain. The Assembly's military representatives wore elaborate uniforms laden with symbols of their achievements and status. Humans, by contrast, maintained a deliberately understated presence. Captain, Kai said, checking his communication pad. Ambassador Chen requests your presence at the emergency session. It seems the Khazari situation has escalated. Alina's expression darkened. The Khazari, a highly aggressive species from the galactic rim, had been launching increasingly bold raids on Assembly worlds. What had begun as isolated attacks on outposts had evolved into coordinated strikes against established colonies. Intelligence suggested they were merely testing defenses before a full-scale invasion. Tell him I'll be there. And Kai, send the signal. Level 3 alert. Kai's eyes widened slightly. Level 3. Are you certain? I am. It's time to wake up some of our friends. As Alina walked through the curved corridors of the Assembly Station, she observed the representatives of dozens of species hurrying past. Many were engaged in agitated conversations. Fear hung in the air like a physical presence. The Khazari were no ordinary threat. They were organized, ruthless, and technologically advanced. Their ships were designed purely for warfare, unlike the multipurpose vessels most Assembly species employed. The Assembly chamber was a vast amphitheater with concentric rings of seating extending upward from a central speaking platform. Alina spotted Ambassador Chen in the human delegation's modest section, a small area near the back with just enough room for 5 representatives. She slipped into an empty seat beside him. They've hit Proxima Centauri, Chen whispered without preamble. 3 colonies on the outer worlds. Complete destruction. Alina's face remained impassive, but her stomach tightened. Proxima Centauri was humanity's first extrasolar settlement. Over 200,000 people lived there. Casualties? She asked quietly. Minimal. We had advanced warning. 98% evacuation before they arrived. Of course, there was advanced warning. The network of quantum sensor arrays hidden throughout human space had detected the Khazari fleet days before they arrived. But the Assembly didn't know about those sensors. just as they didn't know about the evacuation protocols that had been rehearsed monthly since the colonies were established. The assembly records show what we wanted them to show, Elena interrupted calmly. Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak when you are strong provides a tactical advantage. Your intelligence on Earth was exactly what we allowed you to see. Impossible. No species could hide such military power. You're witnessing the impossible, then, Elena replied. Your fleet is surrounded, your ships are outmatched, and your invasion has failed. Surrender now, and we will spare the lives of your crews. The commander's compound eyes shifted rapidly as he received reports from his vessels. The tactical situation was clearly hopeless. Already a third of his fleet had been destroyed, with minimal damage to the human ships. The Dominion does not surrender, he hissed. Then the Dominion will fall, Elena stated simply. You have 5 minutes to reconsider. After that, we will show no mercy. The transmission ended, and Elena turned to her crew. Prepare for the final assault. If they don't surrender, we'll make this quick. 4 minutes later, the Khazari command ship signaled its surrender, followed quickly by the remaining vessels in their fleet. In less than 30 minutes, the supposedly invincible Khazari Armada had been thoroughly defeated by a species they had dismissed as insignificant. As human ships began the process of securing Khazari vessels and taking prisoners, a transmission came through from Assembly High Command. Captain Reyes, the voice of the Assembly's Supreme Admiral Keltvo, came through the speakers, his tone a mixture of shock and suspicion. We request an immediate explanation for what we have just witnessed. Admiral, Elena replied formally. I believe that explanation would be better delivered in person, before the full assembly. With your permission, I will escort the Khazari commander there myself. 3 days later, Elena stood beside Ambassador Chen in the center of the assembly chamber. The vast amphitheater was filled beyond capacity, with representatives from every member species present. None wanted to miss this historic session. On a platform to their left stood the captured Khazari commander, flanked by human guards. On a large display behind them, footage of the battle played in a continuous loop, showing the moment when humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself and systematically dismantled the Khazari forces. The Assembly High Speaker called the session to order, but the usual ceremonial opening was dispensed with. Everyone present understood the gravity of the moment. Humanity, the High Speaker began, his multiple hearts visibly pulsing through his translucent skin, has achieved what the combined forces of the Assembly could not. For this, you have our gratitude. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. However, he continued, his tone hardening, it is now evident that Earth has concealed its true military capabilities from this assembly for the entirety of its membership. This deception raises serious concerns about humanity's trustworthiness and intentions. Ambassador Chen stepped forward. Unlike his usual deferential demeanor, he now stood tall and spoke with clear authority. High Speaker, esteemed delegates, he began, his voice carrying throughout the chamber without electronic enhancement. Humanity did not intend to deceive, but to survive. When we first encountered the Assembly 15 years ago, we studied your history carefully. We learned that species with advanced military technology were often viewed as threats, subjected to restrictions, or pressured to share their developments. He gestured to the captured Khazari commander. We also observed that the Assembly's defensive capabilities were insufficient against determined aggressors. The Khazari are merely one of several expansionist species at the edges of known space. But to hide an entire fleet, multiple fleets, the Valari delegate protested. Advanced weapons, stealth technology. How could you maintain such a deception? Elena stepped forward. Because we've had practice, she said simply. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We became experts at deception, at hiding our true strength until the moment it was needed. When we finally united our planet, we didn't dismantle our military-industrial complex. We redirected it. She activated a holographic display that expanded to fill the chamber's central area. It showed Earth's solar system, with highlighted areas indicating military installations hidden throughout, shipyards concealed within asteroids, training facilities beneath the surfaces of moons, research stations disguised as commercial outposts. The Seventh Fleet is in position behind the Kuiper Shadow. The Khazari have no idea they're there. Neither does the assembly. The Kuiper Shadow was a dense dust cloud that human ships had learned to navigate with precision, while most other species avoided it completely. Behind that natural screen, Earth had positioned one of its most powerful fleets, ships that officially didn't exist according to any record shared with the Galactic Assembly. 3 days later, Elena stood on the bridge of the Perseverance as the Assembly Defense Fleet engaged the Khazari Armada. The battle was going exactly as human intelligence had predicted, badly for the Assembly forces. Despite their numerical advantage, the Assembly ships fought as individual units from different military traditions. The Khazari moved with perfect coordination, focusing their fire on one target at a time before moving to the next. Assembly ships were being destroyed at a rate of 5-1. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a general distress signal from Admiral Thekska. The command ship is under heavy fire. They're ordering all vessels to fall back to secondary defensive positions." Elena nodded calmly. "Acknowledge the order, but we will hold position here in Sector 7G. Her bridge crew exchanged knowing glances. They understood what was coming. "Activate quantum communications," Elena ordered. "Signal Admiral Yang. Operation Umbra is go. I repeat, Operation Umbra is go." As the remnants of the Assembly fleet retreated in disarray, the Khazari ships regrouped for what they believed would be the final push toward the core worlds. Their route would take them directly through Sector 7G, directly past the Perseverance. "Captain," the tactical officer reported, "Khazari advance fleet approaching our position. 30 capital ships with support craft. They'll be in weapons range in 3 minutes." Elena stood from her captain's chair, her posture straight and confident. "All hands to battle stations. Disengage camouflage systems. Power up all weapons and shields to full capacity." Around the ship, hidden systems began to hum to life. Panels that had appeared to be simple hull plating slid aside to reveal advanced weapon emplacements. The ship's energy signature, which had registered as barely above that of a civilian transport, suddenly flared with power that matched a vessel 3 times its size. "Open a channel to Admiral Yang," Elena ordered. The stern face of Admiral Kaido Yang appeared on the main view screen. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship, the UES Harbinger, bustled with activity. "The Khazari took the bait, Captain," Yang said without preamble. "Seventh Fleet is moving into position. The stealth field generators are functioning perfectly. They have no idea we're here." "Time to spring the trap, Admiral," Elena replied with a grim smile. As the Khazari fleet approached, confident in their impending victory over what appeared to be a single, isolated human vessel, they had no way of knowing that they were flying directly into the jaws of humanity's carefully laid ambush, or that the species they had dismissed as inconsequential was about to change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The veil lifted. The Khazari battle fleet moved through space with predatory grace, their ships arranged in a perfect attack formation. From the bridge of the Perseverance, Elena watched as the alien vessels approached, sleek, obsidian craft with hull configurations that resembled the barbed stingers of ancient Earth wasps. To anyone observing, it appeared that a single outdated human ship was about to be obliterated by an overwhelming force. That was exactly what the Khazari thought as well. "They're entering the engagement zone," Lieutenant Zhang reported, his fingers dancing across the tactical console. "Their weapons are hot, but they haven't locked onto us yet. I don't think they consider us a threat worth prioritizing." Elena nodded. "Perfect. Let them come a little closer." The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each member aware that they were about to participate in a moment that would rewrite galactic history. For 15 years, humanity had hidden its true strength from the Assembly. Today, that deception would end. "Captain," Communications Officer Dias called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the Khazari lead vessel." "On screen," Alina ordered. The main view screen flickered to display the face of a Khazari commander. Chitinous features arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as an expression of smug superiority. The translator converted the clicking and hissing sounds into English. "Human vessel." The Khazari commander's words reverberated through the bridge. "Your defensive line has collapsed. Your allies have abandoned you. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Your crew will serve the Dominion." Alina rose from her chair, her posture relaxed but commanding. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth ship Perseverance. I'm afraid I must decline your generous offer." The Khazari's mandibles twitched in what might have been amusement. "You have one obsolete vessel. We have 30 battleships. Your destruction is inevitable." "Numbers can be deceiving, Commander," Alina replied with a hint of a smile. "So can appearances." She made a cutting motion across her throat, and Officer Dias terminated the transmission. "They're moving into attack formation," Tactical reported. "Targeting systems locked on us." "Disengage stealth protocols," Alina ordered. "Full power to quantum shields. Arm graviton lances and singularity torpedoes." Throughout the ship, systems that had been dormant for years hummed to life. The Perseverance's energy signature suddenly multiplied exponentially as its true power was unleashed. Weapon ports hidden beneath false hull plates slid open. The ship's entire exterior began to shimmer as advanced shield technology far beyond anything the assembly or Khazari possessed created a protective bubble around the vessel. "Signal Admiral Young," Alina commanded. "Operation Umbra is now in Phase 2. At the edge of the battlefield, space itself seemed to ripple and distort. For a moment, the stars behind the distortion appeared to bend and waver, as though viewed through heat rising from hot pavement. Then, like a veil being lifted, hundreds of ships materialized where empty space had been seconds before. The 7th Fleet of the United Earth Defense Force had arrived. 200 warships ranging from swift attack cruisers to massive dreadnoughts. They had been there all along, concealed by stealth field technology that rendered them completely invisible to both conventional sensors and visual observation. "The Khazari fleet is altering course," John reported, unable to keep a note of satisfaction from his voice. "They appear to be confused." Indeed, the perfect formation of the alien ships was breaking apart as commanders frantically tried to adjust to the sudden appearance of a massive human fleet at their flank. Their sensors, which had detected only a single vessel moments before, were now overwhelmed with targets. "Signal the fleet," Alina ordered. "Execute attack pattern Theta 9. The human vessels moved with perfect coordination, splitting into precise formations that began to encircle the Khazari ships. Unlike the assembly fleet, where each species fought according to their own traditions and tactics, the Earth ships operated as a single, unified force, a fighting technique developed over centuries of warfare among their own kind, now turned outward against a common enemy. "Khazari vessels are powering weapons," Jean reported. "They're trying to regroup." "Fire at will," Alina commanded. "Show them what humanity is truly capable of." The space around them erupted in brilliant flashes as the human fleet opened fire. The weapons they deployed were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Graviton lances that bypassed conventional shields, singularity torpedoes that created localized distortions in spacetime, and quantum phase beams that could penetrate any known defense. On the tactical display, Alina watched as Khazari ships began to fall one after another. Some were cleaved in half by weapons that ignored their armor. Others imploded as microscopic black holes formed briefly within their engine cores. A few simply disappeared as experimental weapons transported sections of the vessels into alternate dimensions. "Captain," communications called out, "we're receiving transmissions from the assembly fleet. They want to know what's happening." "Let them watch," Alina replied, her eyes fixed on the battle unfolding before them. It's time they learned the truth. As the battle continued, another surprise emerged from the darkness of space. From behind nearby planets and moons, additional human ships appeared. These weren't hidden by stealth fields, but had been strategically positioned throughout the sector long before the conflict began. "The Colonial Defense Forces have arrived," Zhang announced. 200 additional ships joining the battle. The Khazari fleet, once so confident in their superiority, was now caught in a vice between two human armadas. Their formations collapsed entirely as they tried to find an escape route, but there was none to be found. "Khazari command ship is hailing us," Diaz reported. "On screen," Elena ordered. The Khazari commander appeared again, but the smugness was gone from his expression. Now his mandibles clicked rapidly in what humans had learned was a sign of extreme agitation. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. "Your species possesses no such technology." The assembly records. The assembly high speaker, an ancient Drakari with translucent skin that revealed the pulsing of multiple hearts, raised his upper limbs for silence. "Respected delegates," the high speaker's voice echoed throughout the chamber, electronically enhanced and translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages. "We face an unprecedented crisis. The Khazari have now attacked 27 worlds across assembly space, including 3 human colonies in the Proxima Centauri system." A murmur ran through the assembled representatives. "Their fleet movements suggest coordinated action on a scale we have not witnessed before. Military intelligence indicates they have gathered approximately 300 capital ships near the Hadarian Rift." 300 capital ships. Even the combined might of the Assembly's central species would struggle against such a force. The lesser species, like humanity, would have no chance at all, or so they believed. "We must unite our forces," the High Speaker continued. "Every member species must contribute to the defense fleet according to their capabilities." The Valari delegate rose from his seat, his species' silver skin reflecting the chamber's lights. "The Valari Concordat pledges 50 warships to the defense fleet," he announced proudly. Appreciative murmurs spread through the chamber. The Valari ships were renowned for their firepower. "The Medusan Imperium offers 40 battlecruisers and their support craft," declared another delegate. One by one, the major powers announced their contributions. The numbers were impressive, nearly 500 ships in total, but Elena knew it wouldn't be enough. The Khazari weren't just superior in technology. They were utterly ruthless and fought with a hive-mind coordination that individual ships couldn't match. Eventually, the High Speaker's gaze fell on the human delegation. "And what does Earth contribute to our common defense?" Ambassador Chen rose slowly. He was a small, unassuming man who deliberately cultivated an appearance of mild deference that masked a brilliant diplomatic mind. "Earth can contribute 2 vessels to the defense fleet," he said, his voice steady but quiet compared to the booming declarations of the other species. Laughter rippled through the chamber, ranging from the chittering sounds of the insectoid sick tree to the deep rumbling of the gas giant dwelling Jovians. 2 vessels. The Valari delegate didn't bother hiding his contempt. Why bother at all? "We understand our contribution is modest," Chen replied with a slight bow. "But the UES Perseverance and her sister ship Endurance are available immediately. Both are fully crewed and combat-ready." The High Speaker nodded with the patronizing air of one accepting a child's attempt at helping adults. "We thank Earth for its contribution. Every ship may make a difference in the coming conflict." As the meeting continued, Elena's secure communicator vibrated against her wrist. She glanced down at the message displayed on its surface. "UMBRA, Actual. Phase is 1 INITIAL. GED. Sleeper Unites BEACO in active. Estimate 72 HOURs, 2 FUL awakening." Elena allowed herself a small smile. Unknown to the Assembly, humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. Even before first contact with alien life, Earth's nations had agreed on one fundamental principle: humanity would never again be caught unprepared for existential threats. The bitter lessons of their own history had taught them the cost of complacency. When Elena returned to the Perseverance, she found Kai waiting for her in her private ready room. "The Assembly Defense Command has assigned us to Sector 7G, he reported. "It's a tertiary defensive position. They don't expect the Khazari to come anywhere near it." "But we know better," Elena said, activating the holographic display on her desk. It showed the projected Khazari attack routes based on human intelligence. The alien fleet would absolutely pass through Sector 7G. It was a perfect ambush point. "They're positioning us exactly where we need to be," she observed with satisfaction. "Thinking they're giving us a safe, insignificant posting when actually, it's the linchpin of our entire strategy," Kai finished. "Do you think they suspect anything?" Helena shook her head. "For 3 generations, we've carefully cultivated the image of humanity as a technologically struggling species. Every breakthrough we've made has been compartmentalized, classified, and hidden from outsiders. The Assembly sees what we want them to see, a species that poses no threat and offers minimal value as an ally. The perfect cover for Project Umbra." "Exactly," Elena confirmed. "Has there been any update from Admiral Yang?" "When humanity reached for the stars," Elena continued, "we carried with us the hard-learned lessons of our own bloody history. We hoped for peace but prepared for war. It is the reason we survived the Khazari attack with minimal civilian casualties. Every human colony is built with defensive capabilities and evacuation protocols that can be activated within hours." The Assembly representatives watched in stunned silence as the display showed the full extent of human military power, not just the fleets that had engaged the Khazari, but dozens more positioned strategically throughout human space. "And now," the High Speaker asked finally, "what are humanity's intentions toward the Assembly?" Ambassador Chen smiled gently. "The same as they have always been. We seek peaceful cooperation, fair trade, and mutual defense. The only difference is that now you know we can actually help defend the Assembly, rather than needing its protection. We could have shared resources, developed joint defense strategies," argued another delegate. "Perhaps," Chen acknowledged. "But history, both human and galactic, suggested otherwise. The Assembly has often treated military technology as something to be controlled rather than developed. We chose to develop our capabilities independently, ensuring they would be available when needed." The High Speaker considered this for several long moments. "It seems we have underestimated humanity in more ways than one," he said finally. "This revelation will require a significant reassessment of Earth's position within the Assembly." "We welcome that reassessment," Chen replied. "But understand this, humanity's strength was developed for defense, not conquest. We have no territorial ambitions beyond the systems we already inhabit. We seek only security for our people and stability for the galaxy." In the days that followed, the political landscape of the Assembly transformed. Human representatives were moved from their small section at the back of the chamber to a position of prominence. Military councils that had once dismissed Earth's contributions now eagerly sought human advisors. Trade delegations from dozens of species suddenly discovered urgent reasons to visit Earth. 1 month after the battle, Elena stood in her ready room aboard the Perseverance, looking out at the newly established Joint Defense Command Station orbiting Saturn. Ships from 20 Assembly species now trained alongside human vessels, learning the coordination and tactics that had defeated the Khazari. Admiral Yang entered the room, bringing her attention back to the present. "The Assembly Defense Council has approved the joint patrol schedules," he reported. "They've accepted all our strategic recommendations." "Of course they have," Elena replied with a slight smile. "Nothing builds credibility like success." "Some still distrust us," Yang noted. "The Valari in particular feel humiliated that their military reputation has been overshadowed." "They'll adapt," Elena said confidently. "The threat of the Khazari may have been neutralized, but everyone knows there are other dangers lurking at the edges of explored space. The Assembly needs us now, whether they fully trust us or not." "And our hidden reserves?" Yang asked quietly. "The ships and weapons even the Assembly doesn't know about yet." Elena turned from the window to face him directly. They remain hidden, Admiral. Humanity didn't survive this long by revealing all its secrets at once. Outside, Earth gleamed blue and white against the blackness of space, seemingly peaceful and unassuming. But now the galaxy knew at least some of what humanity was capable of when threatened. The veil had been lifted, but not completely removed. In the game of galactic politics, humanity had just revealed itself as a major player. But as Elena and every military leader on Earth understood perfectly well, you never show your full hand, even when you've just won the pot.